Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another interesting topic for you guys that I'm sure a lot of you are going to enjoy. So make sure you stick around for this one. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this video. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, just about a day or two ago, I started watching an interview with Kyrie Irving on the I Am Athlete, podcast, and it's a podcast that does extremely well. Not just that one, is also the Pivot podcast that also does well. Another one that I like is the Players Tribune. I also like that as well. Now, the real reason I decided to watch that particular episode was because on the thumbnail it had Kyrie Irving, and the thumbnail said, "Kobe Bryant changed my life." So really, the part I tuned in for was to hear what Kyrie had to say about Kobe Bryant. That's really, I mean, you're supposed to report, but I really wanted to hear that part because I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And during that podcast, he spoke about his past relationship with his former teammate and LeBron James during their Cleveland Cavalier days. As y'all know, they were teammates and went to the finals 3 times, and they won a championship in 2016. And we had actually covered this via a report that we got from CBSSports.com, where Kyrie Irving basically confessed or admitted that, listen, if he had an opportunity to have a do-over, he would have handled things a little bit differently. That yes, he was going through some things on a personal level, but he wished he would have communicated a little bit better to LeBron James. He wouldn't have been so defiant, especially when he came on ESPN First Take and Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith at the time asked him, "Hey, listen, this is a big decision that you're making. Did you at least communicate it to LeBron?" And Kyrie basically said, "No. Why would I have to?" Right? So Kyrie Irving basically seemed to have some second thoughts and pretty much wish he would have done things over. So I saw, and I was still watching that interview. So yesterday, I was doing some research, just kind of combing through the internet, and I stumbled upon a video from ESPN, and basically Brian Windhorst was asked to react to some of the comments, especially those comments that I just made about Kyrie Irving wishing he had a do-over and would have done things differently, that Kyrie Irving made as it pertained to his time in Cleveland with LeBron James. Now, before we play the audio, I think it's important that we mention that Brian Windhorst has been one of these reporters that actually has been covering LeBron James, I think since he was in high school, or since the moment, I think it was since he was in high school. So he's been chronicling LeBron James' entire career. So he knows all of the ins and outs of LeBron's career, and he has a lot of behind the scenes information. So what we want to do is play what Brian Windhorst had to say in response to some of the comments that Kyrie Irving had to make, because I think it's going to surprise quite a bit of you. So take a listen to some of the things that he had to say here. We're going to come back and react to it. Take a listen to that.
We definitely would have won more championships together because there would have been a better man-to-man understanding about what I'm going through. I didn't know how to share my emotions. I didn't know how to do that. So instead of sharing, I isolated myself.
Back now with Brian Windhorst. Martin, your thoughts on what Kyrie had to say there?
I appreciate Kyrie doing interviews away from basketball because I think it's great that athletes do this on podcasts. But Kyrie has just been all over the place talking about the departure from Cleveland over the years. And so I really have no idea where to rate this and what he might say again in 6 months. A couple of years ago when Kyrie was headed to free agency, LeBron James was interested in trying to recruit him to the Los Angeles Lakers, and he reached out and attempted to mend fences. It lasted for a short time, and when Kyrie didn't choose the Lakers, their relationship went away again. I will just say that 2 weeks before Kyrie asked for a trade, LeBron expressed his desire to be with Kyrie and hand off the reins to him in a public press conference at the NBA Finals for the world's media to hear. Kyrie came in minutes later, was asked about it, and said that was exactly what he wanted in front of the world's media on the stage right before the NBA Finals, and then 2 weeks later asked for a trade. So I just don't know what to make of what his thought process was in 2017, what his thought process is in 2022, and your guess is as good as mine as what it will be in 2027.
What about you, Pat? Do you have any guesses? What did you think of those remarks from Kyrie?
He's entitled to his opinion. It's about him. He's came up and said that obviously, he didn't know where he was in the headspace of, I don't know if it's being there or confidence in the team. I don't know what it is, but I mean, Kyrie is, top 75 player. I don't know why he wasn't on that list. He's talking about the most skilled player I've seen personally play this game. I mean, and to say that, at 25, 24 years old, that I'm not mature enough shows the maturity of him. I appreciate him. The game needs him. The game misses him when he was out. And, whatever Kyrie does with, the NBA, and I'm behind it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Kyrie. Just the respect he has, the grace and excitement that he brings to the game. No one else does it better than Kyrie.
There'll always be a lot of what-ifs around that situation. Brian, do you think they would have won more championships if they had stayed together, those two?
I think there's a good chance. The 2017 team that they lost to the Warriors, who were an all-time great team, that 2017 team was the best team that the Cavs had under LeBron, even including the year they won the title. They went 12-1 through the East playoffs and just ran into a historic buzzsaw. Durant ended up leaving 2 years later. If they stuck together, it possibly could have worked. I mean, going to what Bev said, I completely understand why Kyrie, who, by the way, idolized Kobe Bryant.
According to what he said, it seems as if LeBron James tried to recruit Kyrie Irving when he was a free agent to come and play with him in LA. Now, if y'all remember, a number of months ago, may have been 5 months ago or so, if I'm not mistaken, early this season, I threw out the idea of Kyrie Irving possibly becoming a Los Angeles Laker. And I remember a good amount of our viewers, excuse me, essentially laughing me off the stage. They're like, what? You want Kyrie Irving to be a Laker? You want Kyrie Irving and LeBron James to play together? Hell no, blah, 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 blah. They basically laughed me out of the building, right? They were like, there's no way in hell that would happen, right? And I said, listen, if the Lakers could, they should try to find a way to get him. But people thought it was ridiculous. Well, apparently, LeBron didn't think it was a bad idea after all. And I think LeBron thought that it would be a great idea for some very good reasons. Number one, him and Kyrie have a proven formula for success in the past. These two won a championship together and they went to 3 NBA finals together. I think their games work perfectly together and they were able to win together. That's the first thing, right? So he knew that if him and Kyrie were to play together, he would just be kind of trying to recapture, some success that he had in the past. It wasn't like as if it was a new experiment with him, AD, and what's his name, and Russell Westbrook. It would be tantamount to Anthony Davis moving to another team, and then LeBron James wanting to play with him again because they won a championship in 2020. So he knows for a fact that these two guys can win together. So that's the first thing, right? I think that's the first thing that it proves that obviously LeBron would want him, and I think that's smart. Right? It's smart. My second takeaway from all of this is that LeBron is willing to forgive if it means that it's going to help him achieve more success in the future. For example, he went back to go play with the Cleveland Cavaliers when no one thought he would after the comments, the scathing comments, the former owner, I think his name is Dan Gilbert, had to make about LeBron, where he basically or essentially said that, listen, this guy quit his way out of here, right? That's what he said. He wrote a scathing open letter, about LeBron. And nevertheless, LeBron still found a way to forgive him and come back to Cleveland because he felt, listen, if I come back here and I have an opportunity to win. And he went back there and he won a championship. And some people said he's a bigger man than me because I would not have been able to do that. But LeBron showed that. And this is another example with Kyrie Irving that he's willing to kind of overlook their history, at least the parts that is a bit muddy, to, recruit the guy and try to see if these two, if they can go out there and win another championship together. I think that speaks volumes to the type of person it is, because there's some people that are very, very petty. Some people are incapable of letting go and forgiving. But it seems as if LeBron is willing to say, hey, listen, that was the past. I know we had our disagreements, but hey, if there's a possibility that we can go out there and win another championship, let's do it. And for him to actually reach out to Kyrie is a pretty big deal, according to Brian Windhorst, right? That's what Brian Windhorst says. And I don't think Brian Windhorst would come out there and say that on TV if it wasn't true. Why would you want to just be going out there and just making up stories and risk damaging your own reputation? I don't think he would do that. And to me, I think that if Kyrie Irving were to be a Los Angeles Laker, I think he would solve a lot of the problems that Russell Westbrook brings. I think he would be a fantastic replacement for Russell Westbrook, if we're just being honest. Number one, Kyrie Irving can shoot. Just 2 seasons ago, he was a part of the 50-40-90 club. That tells you that guy can shoot. Number two, he has great chemistry with LeBron James. He can play on the ball, off the ball, and him and LeBron, work perfectly together. Number three, he's clutch. He can hit some big shots for that team in the fourth quarter, and he's not afraid of the moment. If AD starts to fade, Kyrie Irving will have no problem going up there and trying to close games. And finally, if you foul him late in games, he's going to punish you.